once again this week we're saluting the 25th anniversary of television and its very special people. Today one of our guests is celebrating her 25th anniversary on television, and to join in the party we've invited another of your television favorites, the star of that Monday night winner, Rhoda, Valerie Harper. Valerie and our special guest have something in common that you'll hear about later. And you're also going to meet two surprise guests that ought to make this anniversary party a real party. First, I want to take you back to 1951, 25 years ago, and remind you of some of the stars who romped through your television set. At the time, you knew they were funny, but little did any of us recognize the significance their lives would be in our lives. During any week in 1951, you could share an hour, a Colgate comedy hour, with Eddie Cantor. He was a very important part of my life, I'll tell you. You could laugh it up with the master, Ed Wynn. You could sit back and giggle at the outraged indignation of the honeymooner, Jackie Gleason. And away we go. Be amazed at the inventive comic genius of Sid Caesar and Imogene Coca. Absolutely adore being subjected to the most outrageous kind of humor from Uncle Milty, Milton Berle. There was another comic genius who was around in 1951, a red-headed mugger with an infectious voice, a flair for the ridiculous, a zest for slapstick comedy that quickly made her the queen of television, the ruler of Monday night. Today, we're not only saluting the 25th anniversary of television, we're saluting her, our special guest. Here she is, Lucy. Listen, after, being the biggest thing that ever happened to television, you went to Broadway and starred in Wildcat. How'd you happen to do that?
Well, I was leaving this town for good, and I had this offer, and Kahn and Van Heusen were going to do it, and that sounded pretty good. We put it all kind of together out here, and then after we got to New York, I had quit my television show, and I was getting a divorce.
Leaving the town for good. You didn't ever really feel
Oh, yes, I was leaving. I had given up my show, and my divorce was pending, and I went there to do the show with them. After I had signed the papers, they backed out the night after, the day after. So there I was, stuck having signed, and they were nowhere around.
And you're the kind of lady who signed the contract, you say, I'm going to do it then.
I liked the show, and I loved the new people that they had in mind, so I went with it, and it was not a great show, but we had SRO from the word go, and I could have, gave back a lot of money at the box office when I had to quit. I got very ill, but I loved being in the show.
In the theater.
But in the theater, and in that show, I didn't mind doing that one, even though it wasn't the greatest. But I wouldn't like to get tied up with a hit on Broadway again. For any money.
Because it does go on forever.
Yes. I'd like to do theater around the whole country. I'd like to move 3 weeks here, 3 weeks there,
Excuse me, yeah.
But I don't know about Broadway.
I'm not sure if I could do the same show night after night after night.
That didn't bother me any. I was, I never got bored with it. I was with it about 1 year and 4 months, all told, but I wouldn't like to get tied up for any... I don't know how Ethel Merman has done it all those
years. She loves it.
Yeah,
just absolutely
she did.
In those days now, queen of Monday night television and the reigning queen in her time spot on Monday nights is an actress who was with you in Wildcat. I was looking through the program here, and I was trying to find her name somewhere. Watch the monitor, see if you can find the name of our next guest. Now watch. Look at that. It's under dancers.
God bless her.
And Valerie Harper. Please welcome. I said, well, I know Valerie's in
When
there.
they start, I was watching the monitor back there, and I said, oh, no, they can't be showing it. I'm not on there. And then it went down to the chorus
over to
dancers.
where it says dancers.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, no, in the chorus, though, who did you play exactly?
Well, let's see. The first number, which was the
Don't
opening
ask
number,
me.
Discovering of Oil, I was a townsperson.
A townsperson.
Excited about the oil. And then in
Oil,
the Wildcat,
oil.
Yeah.
it's a, who
That
was
was
that
mine.
doll with the dream in her eye? Wildcat. I was the third. Yes, I was a townsperson again in a different costume. And then when the sombrero number, I was a Mexican with lots of braids and a nice hat and a white dress, dancing myself into oblivion.
Just one of the people.
Yeah.
Of course.
I wanted to say something. Lucy said a couple of times, wasn't the greatest show. I'll tell you, it's the most exciting show I ever did as a chorus member, and I did 5 of them, and it had to do with Lucy's energy and her willingness to be there on the stage. It was very glamorous for us all. I remember it like yesterday, the first day she came to rehearsal.
Oh, tell me about that. 'cause
Yeah,
that
tell me. I'd love to remember. I had no idea. I can't.
But you have no idea.
Well,
because
from
you
our
rehearsed it.
side, you see.
Where was the first rehearsal?
Well, we were rehearsing at the Alvin Theater, I think, and we worked at Variety Arts, which is burned down since on 46th Street. And
So have I.
No, never happened. But we rehearsed, the dancers rehearsed for 2 weeks before, and of course the principals were working on scenes and music, etc. So the first cast read-through with everybody, in came Lucy, and we were all, it was very exciting.
Electricity.
Well, she's a internationally known star, and we all knew her so well and loved her work, and here
You
she
should
was.
have known how terrified I was.
She said it. She said, I'm scared to death, kids. Are you the dancers? Teach me the steps. I mean, she totally disarmed everybody. And
She still says that. Remember when she came in today? And
Yes.
What? I don't know that song. What am I? You know.
Yes, our song we're going
I remembered the song, but I just can't sing it anymore.
Not true.
Right.
All together now. 1, 2, 3. Not true. We have a picture of you.
Reserve.
Okay.
You're right.
Reserve opinion.
But I remember you, toward the end, you fainted on stage one night.
Keith Andy saved my life.
Oh, and it was incredible because she really
I fell
held the
30
show.
feet from the oil derrick.
She fell off.
I had reason to close the show. That's enough.
Yeah.
You don't do anything in an unspectacular
No,
way.
when
30
I
feet
fall,
from the-
I
yes,
fall.
You really do it. That's right.
It would have
I
run.
wasn't even sure he was down there.
It would have run forever, really.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, and
Yeah, we
it
gave
was,
back a lot of money to the box office.
Yeah, they
I
had
have-
to.
I have a picture of you as one of the townspersons.
You do?
Townfolk, yes.
How about
Would you like
that?
to see it?
Oh.
Now wait.
Oh, that's one of the
Look, see?
Mexican townspersons.
Right there, there's one of the Mexican
We had
townspersons.
Anglo townspersons and Mexican townspersons, and
you were
changed
both.
your wigs.
Sure.
Yeah.
But look at the big part you got. What experience.
Yeah, it was great.
You were on the road prior to Broadway?
Sure, we were in Philadelphia and at the
We were there
Erlanger
7
Theater.
weeks. They changed 3 shushers. They took out 3 shushers. That's all they did.
funny.
You know, I was telling
Usually they change drastically.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was one of the reasons maybe it was such a comfortable and fun show for us. There was very little changing.
There was none.
There was, you know, we
It
did...
really only took out some shushers.
Well, we mentioned the fact that Kahn and Van Heusen were supposed to write it, but yeah.
Oil, there's oil.
They took out 3 of those.
But then you didn't mention who wrote it, Carolyn Lee.
Well,
and
that
Cy
not the
Coleman.
book,
And
not
Cy
the book.
Coleman.
They just wrote the music,
That's
not
right.
the book.
The book was
Not
N.
Wildcat.
And Richard Nash.
Richard,
And
and
Richard
Richard
Nash
Nash
wrote
wrote
Who
the
wrote The
show.
Rainmaker.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. What town, out of town, and outside of where they cut out 3 or 4 of the shushers
That's
do you remember
all.
the best?
Well, didn't we play Boston?
Did you have
At
fun?
I don't know. I really
remember
don't.
meeting your children in
No,
in,
we just played
in
Philadelphia. didn't we?
Philadelphia.
Who the hell cares?
And they were little tiny.
might be able to
I
get
really don't know if we played Boston. I remember in previews.
Maybe it was Philadelphia.
You don't
for
remember
6
having
weeks.
It
fun
was
with
7 weeks in Philadelphia, and it was SRO business from the beginning, so they didn't feel that they had to change anything. Let's get
Yeah.
on to something. How's your sex life?
We'll be right back, folks. Who told you to ask me that? Oh, we're still on. Okay.
Oh.
After what? I thought we
Said
should
we'd be right back.
Oh, well,
Fred told me to
You
ask you.
sound like Charo.
yeah. That's what we were just talking about, wasn't it? Coochie Coochie. After Wildcat, when was the next time you saw Lucy? Was that at the end?
Oh, may I tell that, please?
Yes.
I was...
Wait just a minute.
Oh.
Is it all right with you?
She tells us how her sex
Rhoda,
life
baby.
is.
We'll check you out.
Valerie.
Check out-
No, but it was a complete surprise. It was some years later.
Yes.
And they asked me to be a presenter, and fine, when you go to rehearsal, and you do see some names, but the name meant nothing to me. And I knew that I was just going to make 2 or 3 presentations. And as she approached me, she looked me straight in the eye, and she said, I was a dancer in Wildcat with you. I forgot everything I was supposed to say. I said, you're kidding. Finally gave her the Emmy.
Yeah.
And I was very, very proud. And she made me cry, you know, the whole thing. It was very dramatic because it was such a surprise to me.
It was a surprise to me, sitting out there. I didn't think you were presenting with Jack Benny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the 2 of you up there, and that was enough.
But I didn't know who you were.
Yeah, no reason you would.
You've never gotten in contact with me out
That's
here
right.
or anything in years.
Do you remember your speech?
I'm not sure. No, I just thanked
You know-
the people that I
Yeah,
worked with
yeah.
and stuff. But
You didn't thank
Lucy,
your mother and your...
Oh yeah, probably I did all
and-
that stuff. Yeah, you get kind
And
of.
your drama teacher. And
Not the first
your
time you
dancing-
didn't. By the time you had your 3rd or 4th, you did.
Is that what I did?
Yeah, I got the funny
You gotta
thing about
open this?
you two. There are many parallels
What?
in your lives, in your career lives, really, because you're both on Monday nights, CBS, really important spot. You know, it's really kind of fascinating. You both do situation comedies. You both, and Lucy's a redhead.
I see.
That's a parallel?
Well, I don't
What
know.
else besides Monday night?
You both started in the chorus.
I didn't start in the chorus. I couldn't get a job.
Couldn't get a job. in
Weren't
the
you a
chorus,
dancer,
that's what I
Lucy?
said.
No, I was
No,
trying
She was
to
not
be
a dancer. That's right. So, like I said, you have nothing in common.
I never got a job.
Yeah.
That's why I had to be a star. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't sing. I couldn't dance.
Yeah. When you,
I never got a job. How we doing?
You're great. You're just one. Lucy is about to sing.
Oh, come on now.
Yes,
you
yes,
said
you
you were
are.
going to talk.
No, we're going to sing. We've each got a microphone, and we have the lyrics here from Wildcat, the show that starred Valerie Harper, fronted by Lucille Ball. And I'll join in somewhere in the chorus. You start this song, because this was one of your
I
big
have to
numbers.
start it yet.
Why not?
Of course.
And if you have any trouble starting it, we will jump in there.
You'll do it over. That's what you'll do.
Who will? No, this is live. Right, folks? Okay.
Hey, look me over and me and here. Fresh out of clover, porgies up to here. But don't pass the plate, folks, don't pass the cup. I figure whenever you're down and out, the only way is up, and I'll be up like a rosebud high on the vine. Don't thumb your nose, but take a tip from mine. I'm a little bit short of the elbow room, but let me get me some. And look out, world, here I come.
Nobody in the world was ever without a prayer.
How can you win the world if nobody knows you're there?
Kid, when you need the crowd, the tickets are hard to sell.
Still, do you need the crowd if you can get up and yell?
Hey, look me over, lend me an ear.
Looky
Fresh
here,
out of clover,
we're up to here to Lisa Hill.
Pass the plate,
And in a pinch,
pass
the cup.
We'll take an acre.
Whenever you're down,
We'll
and
take
up
an
the
inch.
only way is up and out of hill.
Like a road, what do you say? You give it the wildcats, your nose, but hooray, hey, hey. I'm a little bit short of the elbow room, but let me get me some. And look out, world, hear me shout, world. Hey, look out, world, here I come.
No salute, really, to television or to Lucy would be complete without our next guest. You wanted to know who it was. Now, she is one of your best friends, and she's certainly one of my best friends. She's on every Saturday night at 10 o'clock, and she's one of the great saluters of all time. Please welcome Carol Burnett. She kept asking me. She said, we're not going to sit here and just talk. I said, yes, Lucy, I've got a lot of things I want to ask you. And I got some things I want to ask Valerie, and we got a couple of games we're going to play. And she said, 90 minutes we're going to sit here?
No, listen, you know, I'm not working tonight. And they said,
Yeah,
they attacked me in the hall. And I said, who's there? They said, Lucy. I said, well, okay. There are too many people I'd wear high heels and socks for. I'll tell you.
We needed a redhead.
And a chalet.
Yeah. No, really, this is very sweet. And the other night, Carol and I were having dinner at Carol's beautiful home.
Isn't it beautiful?
And she said, I'm going to see you next week. And that was the first I knew of it.
Oh, you didn't know? Oh, I'm sorry.
She never
they don't
knows.
tell me anything. That's
You mean
really
they don't tell you?
No.
They don't tell
Never
me
knows.
anything on my show
I know.
either.
I've been to the Carol. I've been there. I know they don't tell you any more than they tell
At the CBS dinner the other night, I came up to Lucy, oh gosh, I'm so glad, isn't that going to be fun? And she stared at me with this blue saucer eyes saying, oh, I don't know anything about it. So I let the cat out of the bag, too.
that's right. Well, no.
I guess we were all going to be surprises, or?
No, that would have been impossible. It's just that there's a little matter of communications. When you do so many
I
shows,
know.
we just don't talk to each other.
Dinah's the only one who doesn't know.
No, now you and Valerie were our good friends, but now do you remember when you first met Carol? Because
Carol knows exactly, and she's told me several times. It was May.
May 12th, 1959.
She was in Mattress in
We had
lower...
opened, yes, we opened May 11th, 1959, and Lucy came to see the show, Once Upon a Mattress. It was off Broadway the second night.
Oh, yeah.
I had never met her, and, you know, we're getting ready to go on, and I'm doing the makeup, and they said, Lucille Ball's in the audience. I went,
That has got to be the most terrible.
she was the best audience, and, you know, I was a basket case. I didn't know what I did that night. I think when I got up on the 20 mattresses, I fell off the bed. I was so excited. And she came back afterwards and spent about an hour with me in the dressing room and talking to me and giving me all kinds of encouragement.
And you've been on her television show?
Oh, yeah, she gave me work when I didn't have any a lot of times.
Sure.
You did? I'm not going to tell you when it happened. I'm
Yeah,
telling
that's
you
right.
now.
Oh, I remember. Every time you were on my show, you were doing yours and something else. like tripping.
No. There were a couple of times when I really didn't have a job,
And those are things you can see rather well, and you always want, you don't want anybody to know that that's the...
I didn't know
No
it.
mercy bookings.
I didn't
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah. We have a picture of you and Lucy somewhere here, haven't we?
Yes, I'm the one on the left.
Yeah. What are you doing here? Do you know?
I don't remember.
I think I was talking to her about, well, obviously about my cheeks.
I have no idea what that was.
That was when I became your terrible roommate. That was. Oh,
That's our dance number.
What
one
was
of
that
them.
from?
Well, one of our shows, but it was a dance number.
Good grief.
Yeah.
We were cute.
Yeah, that's the one I love.
Oh, yeah, there we are. There we are.
That's Manhattan, what do you call it? Manhattan Baby. Lullaby of Broadway.
Lullaby of Broadway, that was. Oh, Lord, there we go.
Think anything could ever frighten you still? Oh, look, there's another
Yeah, singing here today did.
Listen, I got a bone to pick with you. I could
What?
never get her to really get up and sing on our show that much. We had to absolutely, you know.
Oh, I know.
Well,
like pulling
they don't tell me, so that's how they get me over
That's
here.
right.
I got her on nostalgia. I said,
That's
please, Lucy. I want to do that number with you again. I've done it about 100 times.
Yeah.
Or more. What is it, 8 months, 8 times a week?
I don't know.
I'm 64. No.
What?
Yeah, was
can't
it
add.
Boston? Were you in Boston?
Yeah, Boston.
Philadelphia.
Well, who the hell cares?
All right, now listen, I would like to apologize for that, but I had to stall till they said you were here. And something must have happened in Boston or Philadelphia. Decided to take it. And all she would say was, hey, would you tell me something? Lucy gave you a baby shower, and the husbands came.
Oh, that was so terrific. It was my second daughter. At the time, I didn't know what it was, but I was...
You knew you were pregnant.
Yeah, I had...
Boy, was she pregnant.
I was 2 years pregnant.
It does seem like a lot, doesn't it?
No, I mean, I remember one morning getting up on the kitchen stool, reaching for some sugar, and just falling over. Anyway, Lucy said, maybe it'll happen if I give you a baby shower. And I said, oh, one of those itsy-poo things with all the
Yeah.
ladies in the
The
daytime.
girls and the lace and the
cutest thing. She says, no, I'm going to really do it right. And it was a nighttime, it was a dinner with husbands and wives and boyfriends and girlfriends. It was, well, you had to be there because Gary Morton, Lucy's husband, opened up all the baby gifts, and I cannot tell you how he put them down. He was so funny putting down all these. I can't tell you what he said.
No.
It was one of the most marvelous evenings. I went into labor the next day.
Really? For sure? Oh, my God. Lucy was right.
When I give a party, he doesn't dare not go into labor.
What did she do during that?
Lucy walked around while Gary was, he was so wonderful. He was doing Don Rickles on all the presents, you know. A lot of baby junk, he says, from Rock Hudson. Write that down, because Rock said baby powder and diapers and stuff, only he didn't say junk. And so, Lucy, all this time that Gary was doing all this, and we were all hysterical, she was up serving drinks and emptying ashtrays and running around just like, you know.
Mrs. Craig.
Harriet Craig.
Harriet Craig always cleans the ashtrays. You go to Lucy's house, it's the cleanest house I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Hey, not that bad, but I smoke, but I still clean ashtrays.
Which I think is commendable.
I don't like dirty ashtrays.
Right.
They make me sneeze.
Exactly. Okay. Now, I wanted to...
Who the hell cares?
Carol, before I forget, we'll be right back. Sweet. Listen, I'm here with 3 unknowns that I'm trying to give a break to. I want you people to notice these ladies, because someday they're going to mean something in your lives on television. Carol is going to be back here on Monday with my new best friend, Beverly Sills. And your special with Beverly airs
Thanksgiving night, yeah.
Thanksgiving night. Now, what Thanksgiving falls on a Thursday this year?
Usually.
Yeah, usually. What time does the show air?
I think
Well, don't worry about it. We'll talk about
Who
that
the hell
Monday.
cares?
They'll find it. They'll find it. They won't miss it. They wouldn't dare.
The show is going to air Thanksgiving Eve.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right, in lieu of your turkey. We have, but Monday...
I always say it's not another turkey, folks.
That's
It's
right.
the dressing.
That's right. Oh, the trimmings, all the
She's
good
quite a lady.
Oh, isn't she something?
Yeah.
We'll talk about that Monday, too. Yeah, she's great. I think all of you as perfectionists, you know, I mean, I know I've worked with all of you, Valerie to a lesser extent than with Lucy and Carol. But do you think perfection is possible on television, Carol? Do you?
Yes. Nothing Nothing's impossible, I have found. Although I've never seen it.
Is on the ground. Have you never seen?
I don't think anything's impossible, you know. I think people put television down too doggone much.
Yeah.
You know, when you think of all the really good entertainment that can be had for free by just flicking the dial, I mean, they say like a show, for instance, Much Ado About Nothing was on, and they said, well, that was a bomb because only 13 million people saw it.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a terrific statement, you know, that 13 million saw a wonderful show like that. So, you know, not compared to how many people tune in on All in the Family or something, but that's a wonderful, and if you don't like it, you can always turn it off.
Switch it off. I'm always belaboring the point, but it really is important that people who strive desperately to do a picture on the big screen forget that in one evening, on even a semi-successful television show, they will reach people, and if they do a good job of acting or singing or whatever it is, they will have reached more people than possibly the entire run of a movie.
The truth is, Dinah, I think television is its own thing. It's a total entity and a total media alone. It's not imitating movies. There are forms that have been developed specifically for Lucy. As a matter of fact, you started the 3-camera system, which is absolutely incredible, and you know, all of us, Mary Tyler Moore and Dick, we all have you to thank for instituting the idea of having an audience for people doing comedy, and it just is incredibly
It's hard to do comedy without an audience.
And you
really
are the
is.
one who said it could be done, and you fixed that, you got that together.
But
and that's a form that's unto itself.
I don't know if our
exists.
audience realizes what that means, but that
Okay.
means that when you do a television, like for instance, here we are on television, and you see the cuts back and forth. This is electronic, but on film, where Lucy did it, it had to be lit from a certain angle. You had to do the close-ups, you had to do the long shots, and all those decisions, every shot had to be shot 3 times. I mean, but it was shot simultaneously, 3
With
different
an
angles.
audience,
With an audience who had to laugh. The cameras couldn't get in the way, and you had to be perfect because when they intercut it, those shots had to match.
Yeah, back to being a perfectionist. That's the way you started
Yes,
this.
that's right.
That has the connotation of a 4-letter word usually. When people, it's a perfectionist, it sounds terrible. Carol and I talked about it once, and we decided it was attention to detail.
That's right.
Which I think anyone who runs their own show, except you know nothing about your own show.
Yes, I do.
Well,
I know there's a camera
anyway,
there somewhere.
but being a perfectionist, I think, is paying attention to detail. I think the head of any company, any major company or small company, the head of it has to pay attention to detail, and that's what a perfectionist is. They always say it like it's a dirty word, though.
I don't
you know?
think of it as a dirty word.
Oh, I'm glad you don't.
No, I think of it as as close as you can get to a good
Well,
performance.
nothing can ever be perfect to
No.
everybody.
You just try.
That's it,
all.
but you see,
But I have
what
never-
perfect really is if something is fully what it is.
That's
I
right.
mean, there can be a perfect failure, you know, truly.
I've been in a lot of
perfect,
those.
yeah, well, I don't mean it as a show. I just mean the word perfect means if something is fully completed. And I think Lucy was saying that attention to detail is where I find on our show, that's where the money is.
right.
I don't mean money, I mean that's where it really is. If you get down to the small things that make up the whole.
Yes. But the small things that make up the whole, and then suddenly seeing a moment come alive and have the audience get your message is really
yeah,
that's
the
satisfaction. as opposed
communication,
to
that's the fun.
It's perfection.
That's
You
what
can
I
do
love.
it. All 3 of you are married to men who know quite a lot about comedy. Richard has
Right.
done comedy all of his life and teaches it,
Right.
teaches drama.
Right.
And Joe is probably one of the finest producers around. Gary is one of the finest producers and has done comedy on television and everywhere else. When you're really happy about something and you say, hey, we reached that moment, and he says, not funny, what do you say?
I said, go to the back of the room.
No,
No, I listen.
I say, why?
Yeah,
Why isn't it
yeah,
fun?
you listen and you ask.
What do you say?
I say let's try it out first. Well, see, we have run-throughs.
Yeah.
We start on Monday and we have a run-through on Wednesday. So we learn, well, you know,
Yeah.
learn script in 2 days. And boy, you kind of know because it's all the crew and everybody, and they don't laugh unless they really think it's funny. And that kind of tells you too, and it tells us all. We don't have many disagreements about what's working and what isn't because
Yeah.
you can all sense
It's
it.
apparent.
You know.
Actually, you have to go back to when you all first began, and now it's of course it's like on a treadmill and you're all used to each other and everything. But when you first started, if you think back, you know, thank God that audience was there, because you really didn't know for a few weeks, few months, really which way you were going or anything.
I think that's true. Once you really have to get the feel of each other, of a crew, as well as.
And when all's said and done, it boils right down to those people in the studio that night.
That's
Do
right.
they get it, and does it reach them or not?
Yeah.
Now, having reached where you are, is there anything on the way you'd have done different from what you've done now?
No, I can't say that. I mean, that would be kind of
Given a
second guessing.
choice,
It's what it is, so it's perfect.
How about you, Lucy?
I've never been able to answer that.
Yeah, it's hard to
I'd
know.
like to have 3, 4 more children.
Yeah.
That's all.
That's lovely.
Yeah. Well, I got
Well, Carol
started
can
late.
make up that. Yeah. Is there any advice you took that you're sorry you took anywhere along the way?
No.
No.
My advice was all negative. Don't go into television. No, that's an unknown quantity. Why are you quitting pictures? You know, don't do this, don't do that. I did it.
Yeah.
And look what happened, nothing.
Yeah, nothing. You said that Lucy encouraged you when she came backstage, and just her laughter in the audience and her reaction was so encouraging. Do you remember anything specifically she said that made you?
I don't remember any specific advice except to just keep going out there every night and doing what she saw. And I thought, gee, that's really nice, and it was nice of her to come back. But, you know, I couldn't believe, I don't really remember I was in such a daze for the whole time that she was backstage. But when I really knew she was a big supporter of mine and a good friend was I had a special to do for CBS, and it was very difficult to get it on the air. And I said, gee, you know, if I could just get Lucy. And I called her. I mean, it took a lot of guts. You know, I was really nervous when I made the long-distance call from New York out here. And I said, would you like to do a special with, I mean, I was really She said, yeah, when? And that was it, you know. And, well, you did. You did.
Yeah, she does. She's that way, but you know, you are too. I've watched you. And the most incredible thing has happened on that show. Vicki Lawrence started on that show as a little girl who came in, and she looked a lot like Carol.
Yes, played the sister.
And she has now developed into one of the finest performers.
She is marvelous.
Oh, she's incredible.
Yeah.
But how did you start? I mean, how did you get her over her fear, and so that she could be herself and then go into these other characters?
Well, for about the first 5 years, you know, 6 years, she played my sister, kid sister, in a segment, and all she did was say, well, I'll put on the coffee and leave. Or, I'm going to go next door to Marcia's now and leave, you know. But all the time, Vicky's not a dumb girl. She's a very bright young lady. And she would watch and observe and see how Harvey worked. And she'd pick up on some of the accents and dialects that Harvey's a brilliant dialectician that he would do. And then once in a while, we'd start giving her a little bit more, and she'd take it and run with it. And then I think she really came into her own when she started doing the mother and the family segment.
Fantastic.
Oh, it's just incredible.
Fantastic.
Incredible thing. Coming up next, we've got a lot of really interesting things that we're going to find out from Lucy. I mean, the fact that she is a perfectionist. Don't let that stop you, folks, because the show can be interesting anyway. Nancy now has her own show.
Well, I had the privilege of working with her for 2 years as Rhoda, but then 4 years before the Rhoda character, I worked with Nancy.
That long?
Yeah, it's really the
Isn't
seventh.
she fabulous?
Oh.
Nancy Walker, incredible, one of a kind.
The line you gave on when you accepted your award one night was said that the lessons. She went to school with Nancy Walker, just being on the show with her.
Yeah,
because she really is great. But Julie, the relationship between the two of you is so convincing.
She's great to rehearse with. Those people, you know, it's the audience sees the end result. But as Carol and I were talking about on the break, Harvey and Vicki, it's just incredible because the family feeling's there.
Yeah.
So it's fun to rehearse. It's not just getting the show so it's good.
I think
it's
I enjoy
the
the
process.
rehearsals more than I did the
Yeah.
show.
Oh, I do too.
Creating, getting it, watching it develop.
I think one of the great joys of all time is that moment when you get together and you see everything for the first time.
I like going out afterwards.
And it's all over and you know you did it. Oh, yeah. Oh, we did terrible things. We had Julie on the show and we made her play the piano and she didn't know she was going to play.
She did?
Yeah, I hope she'll forgive me someday and come back because she really is something else.
She's totally forgiving person.
Oh,
and
she's
beautiful
adorable.
and fun.
Oh,
and
yeah.
she's such a hard worker. You know, I love working with her. She's a close friend. You know,
perfectionist.
it's great to work with your friends.
But
With
do you- I mean,
Mary, I had that relationship with
Sure,
Mary Tyler Moore.
that's right.
It was fun to come to work.
But you see each other socially?
Julie and
Yeah.
I? Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because I know the other night out at dinner, Harvey was there.
No,
Tim,
if we're not together every night of the week, we get the bends.
and Tim couldn't come.
No,
you know,
Tim's kid had 10 teeth pulled that day.
Can you believe that? Aaron filled me in on all of it. Yeah.
10 teeth pulled?
In one day.
Yeah.
Why? With the baby?
He had too many.
Yeah.
He's had 17 teeth pulled.
Well, is it that his other...
Patrick Conway,
How old is he?
47. No, he's about 10 or 11 years old, and he keeps growing in new teeth, and they have to keep pulling them out.
Got a tooth a year.
Ask Tim, does he grow hair in a full moon? You know, what's happening?
Kevin, listen, don't
No,
pay any
it's Patrick.
Patrick. Kevin. That's right. Well, are the regulars, I want to ask you, Lucy, before we forget, are the regulars on all your series going to be on your show, the special, on November the 20th?
Oh, the what?
Aren't you going to have a special for 2 hours on CBS?
Yes.
One of these times. The people who have been on your show, aren't they going to be on that show too? Said she, asked politely. and
Oh,
nicely,
you mean
just to get a nice...
a shot of them in real, there, yes. Vivian, Gale, they haven't told me everyone.
Yeah.
There are a few surprises.
Yeah.
I know about Carol.
Carol's, you know
I
about
wasn't supposed to know about her, but I
Oh,
found
you
out.
found
But
out.
there are
You're
some
on the
that I
Oh, you're always at
I didn't know that.
One of the world's great surprises, yeah.
But I don't know all of them. But Gail, Vivian,
That-
and Desi's on it.
There's one picture here. We didn't get to show with
What?
Bill Gordon. It's really cute.
Oh, isn't he a Look at that face.
And you're just about to put a pie.
Yeah, look at that face.
We have some film clips from the Lucy shows, and I thought perhaps you'd like to relive all the things you did to that darling man.
I can't get it open. I can't get it open. I'll open it. I've got to get you off here before we shove off. Yes, sir. Heaven's sake. I know. Watch the water cooler. I pay 50 cents to pump. Here, my life savings. Must it always be me?
We call him Old Wet Crotch.
You always look forward to a script where he got absolutely soaked.
Well, we got to be superstitious about it. We
and
thought,
the show wasn't going to be good.
yeah, you know, it would be good. And it's hey, wait a minute, he's going to get wet. It's a cinch. We
Would you
got it
like to
made.
know how he felt about that?
Yeah, didn't he like it?
I don't think he was crazy about it. We could find out. He's
He was
Gail.
all-
just absolutely incredible. I was just watching on the monitor all of this, and I've seen every one of those shows, and I'm sitting here like a dummy, laughing my head off, absolutely screaming. Whose idea were those terrible things that happen to you every week?
I don't think I thought of it.
Did you ever really object to it?
No, no, because the look on her face was all so wonderful that it was worth it all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Up in the Colorado River, that was rough. That's cold.
What happened?
Well, he couldn't have a rubber suit on or anything, you know. He just had to go into the Colorado River in that cold. My kids did, too. Lucy in a bikini, you know, Desi in just little shorts. No rubber suit.
Yeah.
That's cold.
Oh, yeah.
And then he had lines. He couldn't get them out.
That's
Awful.
Yeah.
He's done some terrific things for us, and very uncomplaining gentleman.
She told us about your nickname. Did you like it?
Soggy crotch?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know whether I like it or not, but after a while, I'm probably the only man in America who doesn't enjoy a swim unless I put on wet bathing trunks first.
When did you and Lucy first work together? Do you remember?
In radio.
Radio, yes, before the...
I thought I was going to die when I had to start television without Bea Benaderet, God bless her, and Gale. They were with me on my radio show. And when I went into television, I just naturally assumed, and we talked about it, and they said that sounded great, and we hoped that the scripts would come up, you know, real good for both of them. In the meantime, waiting for me to have Lucy, have my baby, he went to work with
Armis Brooks.
Armis Brooks,
sure.
and Dee went with
Burns
and Allen.
Yeah.
And I lost both of them.
And it was funny, we were talking to George Burns, and he was talking about the different kinds of comedy. And he said that you could do things, physical comedy, that really he could never do with Gracie because people would just, you know, they'd be aghast at the idea. And you do physical comedy. And Carol.
What?
Oh, Carol does physical, I mean, some physical bits that are absolutely incredible. You never took a pie in the face, though, did you?
Oh, yeah.
Did you?
Oh, you're not a performer until you've had at least one pie in the face.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Darn it! Oh, I wish I'd known! I wish I'd known! What a setup! You have it?
I got an idea for a show.
Oh, not me. This is my last program. No, but what's the most physical thing you've ever done on the show, Lucy? I mean, because the stilt walking was, you know, that was...
I did something that they begged me not to do once. I said, why shouldn't I? I came down a real fireman's pole fast.
I did that. That hurts. Oh.
The other girls in the skit were to come down gingerly and edge their way down. But no, I had to be smarty and say, that's not the way to do it. You do it like this. And my heels went right up through my head. And the writers begged me not to do it. But I said, no, I'll be able to do it. Oh, God, they had to stop.
Those cement floors
Oh,
are
it was
something
terrible.
else.
But that was the only thing. I've done a lot of things with animals. I think the most wearing and tearing I got was with the porpoises, don't you?
Yeah.
I was 45 minutes in the tank at Marineland with the porpoises, and they really... They got to the point where they literally came up out of the water, went up to their trainer, and talked. First, one of them had come up. I think you've seen outtakes of it before. One of them came up to me like that, and he's right here in my face. But I've been in there for 40 minutes, but they've been so busy trying to get the shot, and they've been obeying the instructor, and he was throwing them fish, and they were doing their stunts, and after 40 minutes of it, they said, what is this? We work every hour. We don't do it for 40 minutes straight, and we're sick of the fish already. So one of them came up and said something to me, and I know all I did was just back away in the water like this. So he got up, and he went right up to his trainer. They come up on the cement. And Gale was sitting over in the corner. He'd been in the water and been thrown out already. And he came right up on the cement and talked to the trainer, and the trainer said, get back in there. And he went, so he went back in. Now, as he went back in, he gave me another look, and he thought, well, I'm just going to find out who this is and what this is. Not who, but what. So the way they test you is with that long, silken snout that's made of steel and covered with satin. They don't bite. They talk and they test you with this, and I got it across the kidneys, and now the director thought I was the greatest actress in the world, and I went, and I was crying, and they couldn't tell because I was wet anyway, but the tears were coming out. I'm going, and this thing, they go like this, like a bat, you know, whoa, whoa, whoa. And each time he passed me, he'd tap me. Oh, God. But I mean a tap. Yeah. Dude, that's the way they do, like if they find you way out in the ocean, that's how some people have been tapped ashore.
Seems to go back to water. I mean, there he is by the fish tank with the pork. Did you ever want to get even with Lucy? Did you ever think for a moment that perhaps you could?
Did I ever want to get even with her?
Even with Lucy for those wet...
I'm very glad you brought that up.
Oh, God. What are you going to do?
You don't mind.
No.
Oh! Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no!
All right, all three.
No!
All right. A night to remember.
Okay.
Pardon?
Comfy?
Oh, yes, I feel 10 years younger.
Which, the seltzer is better than the pie, though,
Yes,
isn't it?
much.
Now, there's a special gentleman in the audience who is going to vent questions for them and ship them right on back to us. That glorious man who's been spending 6 hours, no, how many? 60 hours a day.
6 months.
6 months. Well, I knew it had a 6 in it somewhere. Editing the shows for your special so that they'll be absolutely beautiful.
My
on the
God,
20th.
he looks familiar.
Yes, he does. I thought you'd recognize him. That's Gary Morton.
Thank you. Thank you, Dinah. We have some questions, from, I understand, that the audience would like to ask our people up there.
Oh.
And first, I'd like to ask a very pretty young lady, 2 of them. Yes. Okay. Would you just speak right into the microphone?
Okay, this is directed to Lucy and Carol.
And we want to know if redheads have more fun than blondes.
I wouldn't know.
I have been both. And I wouldn't know either. Because I was a blonde when I was much, much younger, and I think I've had a lot more fun since I married Gary.
If you two girls are curious what to do with your hair between Lucy and Carol, dye it plaid. Take care of everything. Thank you both. Thank you.
I've been both.
Thank you.
I mean, Gary.
Yes, darling, what is your question?
Okay, my question is directed to all 4 personalities. What is your favorite color and why?
Favorite color and why?
You know, I've never been able to pick up. I just like clear colors. You know, I mean, I don't like muddy ones, but I wear almost any color. It's very hard for me to say. I mean, I got on lilac today in case you use it. Mauve. If I got on mauve. And you know, I never thought I liked mauve.
Mine, I think, my favorite color is like autumn colors, yellow, predominant.
I like the warm tones. Yeah, I must say, I think I like the earth tones.
Valerie?
I love red and rose, and I feel I should wear green because my eyes are green, and I kind of like it. I really can't really pick a favorite.
No, it's hard for me to.
Carol?
Puce, because nobody ever says puce.
We have a young man. What is your name?
Hans Welsh.
What is your name?
Hans, H-A-N-S.
HNS. Welsh.
Right.
All right. What question would you like to ask the people?
Well, I was going to ask Lucy. I've seen a lot of her movies, and they're all great, as everyone knows. And I was wondering if she was going to make any more in the future.
You mean television series?
No, movies.
Movies?
Movies or television series. Anything.
Well, I'm not going to do another series. I may make a movie, but I, at the moment, couldn't tell you what it is, because I don't know.
Well, if you make it, I'm sure it'll be a great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom. Thank you. Thank you. Oh! Yes, and your name?
Ann Morrison-Kasky,
And where you from?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
Philadelphia. I spent a beautiful week there one day. Tell me, darling, what question would you like to ask the people?
All the people. How do you all stay so young and beautiful?
Oh.
Well, that's very nice. I'll tell you, before they answer, we'll be right back with the answers after this commercial. I think you people up there sitting had the question from this very nice young lady. Would you like to ask it once more?
How do you all stay so young and beautiful?
Gail?
Gail?
Well, my secret is that I never think how old I am. And I try to think that I'm 40 years younger at least. Doesn't work very well, but I try. And I try to forget that the hair is disappearing. I pray that it'll turn white before it disappears. It's a race that will never be settled. And aside from that, using Pond's cold cream and, you know, at night, and beauty stockings, there it is.
Lucy?
Work. I love my work, and I know that that's kept me feeling young for a great many years.
Yeah.
And the fact that I had children rather late in life, that keeps you young. Next.
Wait a minute.
Me? Yes. Good, clean living. Actually, what?
Country girls.
No, it ain't. That's true. I don't believe in calendars and clocks and things like that. Working, I really like to work, and I like, you know, and I think all of us do.
Yes, I have to second or third at what Lucy said, working. Also, I have a lot of assistants. I have,
What?
you know, well, makeup and making sure you exercise. And there's a feeling of putting money back in the store. I take dance lessons. I know Carol does yoga. And you watch your what you eat.
Yeah. And I believe in sports and watching.
I watch it, but I eat it.
Okay, now we have one more question from this charming lady. What is your name?
Julie Wardzinski.
Julie Wardzinski. What question would you like to ask our people up there?
I'd like to ask Dinah if she's ever going to have Danny Kaye on the show, because Up in Arms is my favorite movie, and I wish she'd do some numbers from that movie.
That's your favorite movie? Well, that's wonderful. How do you get to stay up that late? Oh, super.
This
Am
young
I ever
lady-
going to have Danny Kaye on? How many of you would like to have Danny Kaye on?
Yes.
Okay. You call him. I've called. His telephone number is 2 seconds.
Oh, no.
And And just dial his number and say, hey, when are you going on Dinah's show? And don't forget now. Oh, is that wrong? It's 87696. I'm sorry. What? But you just call Danny Kaye and you ask him when he's going to be on the show, because I'd really like to have... Yes.
Okay.
Whenever you can arrange it.
Right, Dinah, I want to thank Danny's daughter for coming up and asking this. Yes, what is your name?
Kathy Hughes.
Yes, Kathy, what question would you
This is for Lucy. Gary has invited us all back for coffee. What's the address?
Maybe.
Automobiles provided by Pontiac. The Pontiac Sunbird, a great small beauty from the wide-track people for those who love a sporty economy car. New grille, new cast-iron engine, the Sunbird from Pontiac, the mark of great cars. And Fly National Airlines. We do so much for our passengers that 3 out of 4 of them have flown with us before.
Boy, I'm telling you, get you a lady in the balcony anytime.
Thank you very
really
much.
good. Lucy, we'll give you a few surprises today.
Yes, you certainly, as always. Thank you.
We've got another one.
You're kidding.
You know, this is really nice, a special presentation from Mr. Kenneth Feld, the producer of Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey Circus, and I don't know what it is he has.
I hope it's not an elephant.
Certificate of recognition from the Ringling Brothers and Barnum Bailey Circus Clown College, who joins with the rest of the world in honoring and paying tribute to Lucille Ball on her 25th anniversary on television.
Here, here.
Miss Ball's innumerable contributions to the art of comedy and clowning and her multiple talents are an inspiration to aspiring young artists everywhere.
Hey.
In this, her quarter century in television, we take the opportunity to acknowledge her unparalleled contributions of laughter, entertainment, and joy to children of all ages throughout the world. From Irvin Feld and Kenneth Feld, producers of Ringling Brothers, Barnum Bailey.
You can see, Lucy, congratulations. Good luck with your special.
Oh, thank you.
Anniversary show, the 28th. 28th of November.
November
8 to 10
28th at
on
8 o'clock.
CBS. That's right.
2 hours.
That's right. 2 hours on CBS.
2 hours.
Gale,
on the
thank
20th.
you. I know you don't come on television shows very often. I'm very grateful. Gary, as I said, you're magnificent as always. And Carol, you are something. I'll see you Monday.
Yes.
Yes. Now don't spill anything that we were going to talk about because Monday's a very important day. And Valerie, you're an angel. Thank you.
Thank you for...
You really.
Couldn't I just...